Hey guys, so this is going to be part 1 in a 3-part video series about solving special cubes like these that are very similar to 3x3s. In fact, they're basically just shape modifications of the standard 3x3 Rubik's Cube, but that look weird. I mean, the Fisher cube looks sort of like a normal cube until you start turning it, and it's like, what? The Axis cube is even worse for it. And the UFO, well, let's just say that one's really weird. So, but all of these can be solved, basically just modifications of a standard 3x3, and can be solved using standard 3x3 methodology. The one thing you do need, though, is knowing how to alter the orientation of center cubelets, like on a supercube. So, for example, I want to rotate this one 180 degrees, so that instead of it being right side up under the blue and green, or blue and orange faces, it'll be right side up under the red and green faces. So part 1, we're going to be talking about the UFO cube. Now this cube is basically, again, just like a 3x3. I will be using basic beginner's method to solve this puzzle, except I will also be using the 2 algorithms needed to solve the centers of a supercube. If you do not know how to do that, you can check MonkeyDude1313's video on how to solve a supercube. Link is down there in the description. If you need to learn how to solve a 3x3, then I suggest you go learn that first, because these are just alterations of a 3x3. You can look at a couple other instructions down there in the description as well. But I'm assuming that you know how to solve a 3x3 and the algorithms to fix the centers on a picture or supercube. So, this weird little puzzle, I promise, is like a 3x3. If you think about it like this is a center, this is a center. See, you can even see the 3x3 grid if you look really closely, but we'll go ahead and go over it more. So, this is the center, these 4 are edges, and these square pieces, or rectangular pieces here, are edges. These 4 are corners, and these 4 weird little triangular pieces are corners. Now, if you look at the side, this is a center. These are edges, but so are these weird things. I know they look like corners, but these are edges. These are middle layer edges if you're holding it like this. So yeah, that's about all you need as far as notation-wise. Now, that may be enough for you. If so, please feel free to go ahead and solve your cube. But for those of you that want a little more help, I'm going to walk you through solving this cube. So, let's get started. Now, the first step is to pick a center. I usually pick one of the 2 4-colored centers, one of this one or this one. Not any of the 2 colored ones on the sides, because they only have 2 colors. With these, they have all 4, which helps because you can see the orientation of the colors in relation to each other, which is important. As you can see, I've already got 3 of the first layer of the cross solved. It does not matter that they do not line up, because you can see that they're in the right orientation in relation to each other based on this, so you know that all you're going to end up having to do is do a U-turn or 2, or do a turn of that layer or 2, in order to get them to line up. So I'm looking for the white, the last cross piece I need is the white one, and here it is. It's these weird rectangular diagonal ones. Now, one thing that's important to note is that orientation of these does not matter. That works, but if I flip it around, so where that was the top before, this is going to be the top, it still works. Some of them may look like this, where the color that matches is on the bottom. That's okay. It just means that this centerpiece, and this is the centerpiece, is flipped. We'll come to that later. So it should just take a couple of turns, and you can see they're all lined up, even though the centers are flipped, and now I will start working on the corners. The interesting thing is, this one is in the right spot, but it's not correct. But it's harder to gauge how it needs to be flipped. You can tell that this one needs to be rotated counterclockwise, and this one needs to be rotated clockwise. And you can do so adjustingly, or accordingly. Solved. On this one, that's a little harder to tell, but if you look closely and use your brain, you can. This one needs to be rotated counterclockwise, because that will bring this up, and it'll bring that vertical point up into here, and it'll line it up. And it did work. Hooray! So, we're going to fix the other 3. Now, as you can see, I've got the first layer entirely solved. This first layer, totally solved. Now, I'm going to start working on the middle layer edges. This piece, this piece, this piece, and this piece. Again, these are all in the right spot, even if they're flipped wrong. We will not worry about them yet. So all of the pieces that are going to go here are going to be these giant, funky, spearhead-looking pieces. So the way you tell where they go is you look at... Now, it's hard to tell because you don't know if this is going to be the downside or this is going to be the downside. But I know that there's orange and white. So I look for, orange and white. So it needs to go here. I need to bring it down here. So I'm going to use the algorithm from the beginner's method to do that. And there it is. I'm going to do that with the other 3 centers, just like on a normal 3x3. Now, I've got the first 2 layers solved. I realize it may not look like it because some of these centers are flipped, but they are solved, trust me. So I'm going to work on the top layer. Because the orientation of these edge pieces does not matter, you are always in the fake cross step. So what you're going to want to jump to is looking at the orientation using the quad-colored center. I know that yellow and green have to be opposite, but they're not, so that's not right. I know that red and purple or dark blue have to be opposite, but they're not, so that's not right. But I do know that red is to the right of green, and red is to the right of green, so this works. These 2 are correct. So what that will look like this on a normal 3x3. These 2 are correct, these 2 are incorrect. So right now, I've got the correct ones in relation to each other on the top and right faces. Okay? So I'm going to use the exact same algorithm that I would on a normal 3x3 to fix them. Now they are all lined up in the right orientation and they happen to be on the right side. So I need to look at the corners now. Now I just need to place them. This one is in the correct spot, so I will do the algorithm to cycle the other 3 to place all of the corners in the correct spot. And now they are all in the correct spot. I'm just going to use the beginner's method algorithms to fix them. Alright, so I finally got everything solved except for those messed up centers. Now, these 2 are flipped 180 degrees, and this one is flipped 180 degrees. So all I have to do is do that algorithm 3 times, once, and it will be solved. Sometimes you can also get a situation where some are turned 90, in which case you would need to use the algorithm that turns the top layer center 90 degrees counterclockwise and the right layer center 90 degrees clockwise. Luckily, I do not have to do that. Again, for these algorithms, see MonkeyDude1313's video, link in the description. And you're done! See how nice and pretty that is? And all you needed to know was the algorithms to solve a 3x3 and a 3x3 supercube. So, to recap, this is a center, this is a center, this is a center, this is a center, and these 2 are centers. These are all edges, but as are these. These corners, they're edges. Don't listen to them. These edges are really corners. Those are the 8 corners. So, just to recap, start with one of the quad centers, one of the centers that has 4 colors on it, not any of the ones with 2. Solve it like normal. Solve it like normal. Put these edges in place. Ignore the messed up centers if there are any. The orientation of these does not matter at all. Do not worry about it. They can be flipped and it doesn't matter. Finally, do these and then fix the centers using 3x3 Supercube methodology. And you're done. So that has been the UFO Octahedron puzzle. That is video 1 in the 3-part video series on how to solve these funky looking 3x3 shape mods. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any constructive criticism or compliments or any kind of comments at all to give, leave it down there in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Good luck solving that thing.